Welcome back to the 28 Days of Play. This is a February painting series where we explore florals, color, and curiosity as a way to bring softness and beauty and a little play into this winter month. Today is day 9, and we are focused on watching colors mix on our canvas. And so we're going to explore some experiments on how we can mix color. And to me, the most beautiful way to mix color is by using watercolors. It's just so fascinating to watch them mix before your eyes and the way that the water moves them around the canvas and they begin to bloom, literally bloom on the page. It's just really, really cool. So, we're using a method, if you haven't used watercolors before, this is called wet on wet. So essentially, I started with a wet sheet of watercolor paper. I sprayed some water mist onto the page first, so it has a thin layer of water already on it. And then I'm painting color onto it, and I'm mixing those colors together and just kind of playing with moving things around. Again, I don't have any real destination in mind here. I'm just kind of layering one color after the next, one shape after the next, and I'm letting that speak to me in such a way that it's informing my next decision. And I'm really just trying to not overthink, but rather just look at what is my next best step and not think about, 10 steps from now or what is this going to look like at the end. In that way, we can kind of leave ourselves more open to just listening to the process. And oh my goodness, watercolors are such a beautifully amazing form of meditation. I think just watching the colors spread and watching as they mix and create something new before your eyes is really just, it's almost just like a soul experiment watching the colors come together. And sometimes they are so beautiful and so vibrant. It's just so stunning to watch it come together. So I'm just playing. I'm playing with making some brights, and I'm playing with making some neutrals. And because I'm putting down colors so light, I really am leaving space for other things to happen on top. So I'm not married to this. I'm just deciding that this is a really good place to start. This is the wonderful thing about this sort of process is you don't have to rush it. It's just being patient and observing and trusting that, what is happening in front of you is exactly what needs to happen. I started my company many years ago, and when I was trying to think of the name for my company, which ended up being Create to Breathe, I knew it was exactly the right thing because for me, that's what painting had become. Painting, when I used to paint with oils, and it was very anxiety producing because I felt like everything had to be perfect. But when I got away from that and I allowed myself to just play, painting for me became a form of just taking a deep breath, and it was just like this very sacred time that I could spend listening to my own spirit and connecting with that, and then connecting with something so much bigger than myself. And so I just encourage you, above anything else, it doesn't matter what you do with this painting, but just take some time to simply breathe and to just make a mark and just be in awe of just even the smallest aspects of it. Just that you get to be this human making this mark and watching it change in front of your eyes. And there's just such beautiful imperfection in watercolor, and that's why I feel like it just tells such a beautiful story. So anyway, I could go on and on for days, but you can see I did the first layer here, And I used a towel to dry it off just lightly, so it's not completely dry. And now I'm working a second color, a second layer of color across the top. And I changed up my brush just slightly. I'm using a bit more of a square brush now. So I'm adding a variety of shapes and marks and colors, and this would be what you call more glazing. So we have a relatively dry surface, and I'm adding more color on top of it, and so that would be a glazing watercolor method. Now I also just got out my favorite little dry pigment and put it into a little puddle of water, and that is essentially just like they call it a dry color stain if you've never used it before. It's a brand called Infusions, and it comes in a variety of different colors. I think the one that I used there was called Scarlet, which I just love because my daughter's name is Scarlet. So I love that. But it's just so fun, again, to watch the pigment colors because they're just so vivid, and so as soon as they hit water and activate, they just take on a totally different look. I'm just sprinkling a few different colors here. I think I have rust and sage and scarlet and maybe a navy, if I remember correctly, with the dry pigments. So I'm grabbing that big brush again. Oh, you know what's so funny? So I accidentally flicked some color that I had on my brush onto my canvas, but it's one of those things where this is such a safe space in our sketchbooks where we're creating and painting that it does not matter. And honestly, maybe that will end up being some of my favorite part of this particular composition. So it is okay. So no stresses. This is a zone where we don't judge. We just kind of let things unfold in front of us and then give thanks for what happens. And if you haven't heard me say this before, flowers are not perfect circles, and flowers are not just six-pointed, lines. They are so much more. So really, you can mix up those shapes as much as you want. You can see I just made some kind of blobs with sort of that reddish orange color of paint that I put down, and that still reads as a flower, right? So, and then I was adding some ink, the watercolor ink directly from the dropper right onto the page to make those blue circles. And I felt like they needed a little something around them. So I'm adding some light green in there. But again, there's no right decision. There's no perfect decision. I'm just following what feels right in my spirit. And when you listen to your own spirit, it's going to lead you in a different direction, and that is totally fine. It's just that practice of learning to listen, which is so good for us. And one of the things that I found to be so instrumental in my own personal growth is the lessons that we learn on the canvas, we get to take off the canvas as well, which is so fun that I feel like painting in a lot of ways has made me a better human. So again, I'm adding droppers just full of whatever color. I picked up a yellow and I think like a gold color and some just magenta, and I'm just adding some floral shapes that are a little abstract onto the flowers. And what's fun is when you add watercolor on top of watercolor, it does this sort of fun thing where it sort of etches down into the existing color and creates a new color. So you can see where now I have these beautiful lines and dots that are on my page, which is super fun. It's good to just pause and take a moment to look, and don't feel like you have to rush into the next decision, but also don't slow down so much that you lose that flow and that energy that comes from just responding. What I'm thinking about now is I have some white spaces kind of left on my canvas, and I'm thinking I want to get rid of them. I think I want this to just be entirely filled with color. So I'm blocking especially those edge areas where the white is still showing, the white of the paper. That way I can just add some more color in there. And when we take off our little taped frame area, it'll give us a really nice clean edge. I kind of picked up that color by mistake, but then I kind of enjoyed it, that it was this darker value. So I'm just playing with adding that in a couple of places. And I love how you put that blue over top of the orangey brown over there, and you get like this fun green, and over the pink it starts to look a bit more purple. So it's always a fun little experiment. And I added that paint and I forgot that it was still wet there, so it started to bloom rather than make more dots, but that is okay. Fun to use the spray bottle too and just move the paint around. Now I dried the canvas, but I did not make you watch it, so trust that it is dry. And now I've just picked up a calligraphy pen. I love this particular one because it has an angled tip, which allows you to get really thick and thin lines, and so it is definitely one of my favorites. It's called a Sailor calligraphy pen, and so I'm just adding some marks. Honestly, I was craving like some black on the page, and so instead of adding black paint, I decided I wanted to add some of the calligraphy ink. Now the thing about calligraphy ink is that it will, like if I added water on top of this, it will bloom and smear. So now I have to be careful with that I don't want to add water next to that. So I'm just thinking like, okay, I have these small marks. I'm just telling you how my brain is thinking. So I have these small marks, and now I'm thinking, well, maybe I need some larger ones so that they aren't just kind of off to themselves. So I'm thinking, where can I create some larger marks around the canvas? And see how I hold my pen like so super loose? It's kind of a weird way to hold, like if you were actually writing something, but for the purpose of creating loose lines, it works really well if you just keep a very loose grip. So I decided, now that I'm looking at values, so I went dark with the black line, and now I was wanting to go to the opposite, which is adding some light values. So I picked up this white acrylic ink. Now, over time, the white acrylic ink will absorb the watercolor from underneath, so it's not going to stay this bright white. It's going to kind of pick up some of those colors and become a little bit more muted. So we'll have to see if this feels white enough. So I'm peeling off the paint, and you can see how that white liquid ink really didn't give me that like bright white that I was wanting, but I still really like the effect of it. Kind of gave us this like milky layer, which I really like. So I still kind of feel like I want to add some more brightness, a light value onto the canvas. And so I pulled out this fine liner, which has given me nothing but grief the last few times that I've used it. And I just wanted to put some tiny little dots, but of course it's adding giant dots and making a mess on my desk. But I think that makes me feel like this particular piece is complete. So I'm adding some little binder clips to help my pages dry flat. And I hope that you have enjoyed painting along with me today. It has been such a joy having you here. And even if you weren't painting along, even if you were just watching, hopefully this was a time where you could just relax and breathe and soak in the creativity. Please drop me a comment if you have any questions at all, or if there's something you'd like to share. And I do hope that you'll come visit me over at createtobreathe.com, where I offer lots of creative courses. But in the meantime, happy painting.